In the 1970s, the team came close several times before taking the title in 1973.
Leslie Lee was he was a tremendous athlete.
Leslie Lee was a great running back. Great.
Fantastic athlete, good tight end.
He was one of the best players on the team as far as had speed.
You really didn't know what position to put him in on offense because you wanted the ball in his hands all the time, you know. And you feel kind of secure knowing that you had a great running back like that because you knew you was going to move on offense. But the trouble was he was so great, you kind of stood around and watched him. So some of the guys should have been blocking, but they were watching Leslie run with the ball. I played defensive safety. That was my favorite position. I played a little quarterback and a wide receiver.
He's one of our smarter players.
Accepted any role on the team and was always an upbeat, the team player. Helped motivate the team.
He inspired me, and he had a lot of heart and a lot of guts.
Sylvester Henry was one of my all-time favorite anywhere players.
Oh my goodness, Sylvester was a good quarterback, a good running back. He used to always do that hops. If a player was coming from the side, he would hop back, and he was a tricky runner.
One of the meaner players, one of the tougher players.
You couldn't really block a hole for him if he was running the ball. He just went where there was open field and flew.
Fast, quick, crazy. He played quarterback, and I think the coach put him in the position of quarterback when he really wanted the quarterback to keep the ball and run with it, because Sylvester didn't like giving it up.
He was a tremendous competitor, tremendous athlete. He was probably one of the all-time jokesters on that team.
Randy was a guy that I always admired and respected because he was always there no matter what, whether we were winning, losing, whether he was playing or not.
He was in the defensive backfield with myself most of the time. Backup quarterback. Good guy to have around.
Good solid football player, a lot of fun, good team player, good morale booster.
And he was one of those kids that was a quiet kid that always gave you 100% in practice.
Craig Smith was a horse. He was a horse, and he'd just keep on going, and he'd let you know when he got tired. And coach would leave him out there until he let him know he was tired.
Craig Smith was just a tremendous athlete. He may have led us in scoring that year.
He could roll, he could hit with his head and roll off of you. He could run around you.
He was fantastic to block for because he hit the hole so fast, and once he bounced through, got a look at the second wave, he was history.
He'd run the ball play after play nonstop. If you keep giving it to him, he'd give you his all.
I met Bo Schimbeckler in New Haven High School. He was there to recruit Craig Smith.
Everybody blocked hard for Craig because he affected your heart, and he inspired you to want to block for him.
Hank was a monster. What was he, 6'3" or 4", and 200 plus easy? We had probably 5, 6 guys like that, but Hank was one of the hardest hitters there.
He was definitely one of the leaders, I'd have to say.
Always paid attention to detail, and he was a tremendous tackle for me.
He probably is what got me any type of postseason awards that I got, was because of the way he played. Excellent football player.
Dave was very hard hitter and kind of a crazy guy on the field, so them the kind that most beneficial when you're playing football. Defense, the other team didn't know how to take him.
He played like a bigger man than what he was.
Worked hard, and he was a leader. Demar Joshua could probably play anywhere we wanted him to play.
Throw the ball a mile. He loved to throw it. I guess sometimes he wasn't on target, but it was just amazing to see how far he could throw it, That was his specialty, throwing passes, long passes.
Excellent athlete. Played 4 sports, if I'm not mistaken. All of them very well.
John was a guard, and another member of that team that was a good leader. always listened, always did his assignment, always encouraged other players.
He wasn't really as big as most of the other guys, but he could hit just as good and hold his position on offense. Pretty good pass protection there to be he was a thin fella, but he played big, had a big heart.
Teddy was the younger, and I think he was kind of a backup there at that time on that team. But he was like he wanted to do the same thing that John did.
He was one of them Dick Buckus type players.
Very competitive kid. Always wanting to get in there and do the best he could do.
The D Cooks were bad. There were some good hard hitters, but then their parents had a farm, and they had to quit playing football because of the farming.
Blop blop. We call him blop blop because he hit you so hard and give you so much his nose will start bleeding. And we call him blop blop. But that guy could hit, and he hit real hard. And he could run the ball. He was a very tough fullback.
Oh man, that's what you're talking about, heart right there.
A little small power pack. That's what we called him.
His nose bleeding, still playing. Blood running down his face. I said, man, he was the one, because he wore glasses. And I mean, right there he would be bleeding. And just still toughing it out, sticking it. And he wasn't that big, man, but just hitting and blocking, and just Mark Mirabel was something else.
Him and Robert Fissler, Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, same size, but two of the hardest hitting guys on the field. You can't talk about one without the other, because you seen one getting off a tackle, the other one was under him. That's the way they hit.
Robert Fissler, I can remember him. He was a strong kid, and I think maybe he played guard, and I think he played linebacker. But I can remember him as a muscular kid, strong kid, a quiet kid that would really, put the leather on you.
The epitome of a wolfman on defense, just real reckless, played with reckless abandon. I mean, he just threw his body around like he was, made out of steel. But he was all over the place and just a hard hitter, and loved to stick his nose right into where all the action was.
Very little, very hard hitter.
Too small for football, but he definitely had the guts for it.
He had a style of his own, man, and he sort of like a twisting, galloping style.
Wasn't afraid to hit the big guys, but
William Sterling. Okay, William was a great big kid. Played tackle.
He probably came in 6'3", 260, 70. And look, we talking about a lot of beef there. We had the beef team. I mean, I don't think there was a squad in New Haven that could probably match up with the size we had in 73, 74.
He talked stuff to the linemen, and he'd back it up too. He talked to the other team while we was up on the line. That William Sterling was something else, man. Then he for sure was one of the best fullbacks New Haven had.
If he had the ball, you kind of, step to the side, dived at his shoestrings. There was no head on with this for sure at practice. We saved that for Friday night, because he would hurt you.
needed short yardage. He was the guy to go to.
You couldn't get low enough. It seemed like he ran 6 inches off the ground. You had to literally lay on the ground to get under him, and when he delivered a block, he just jarred your teeth right out of your. He was the cause for our running backs having so much success, because when he led through the hole, he stuck somebody.
One time, me and Kelly Moore tried to tackle him, 2-on-1, and he put his head on the ground. And we tried to go lower than him. His helmet would be on the ground, and then he'd lift up and just run right through us.
At the beginning, he was a little awestruck. Just, small kid in the big lights, but he adapted real quick and became a force after that.
He was good enough to bring up on varsity as a freshman, I believe. So that's saying a lot for him right there,
If you watch the way pros play defensive end, that's how he played defensive end in high school. He just walked over people and caused everybody he would literally cause the other team to run the other way.
He was the leader of our team. He was a coach on the field.
Very good, very smart player.
Freddie was the last quarterback that called his own plays. And Coach Cohen said that he had to allow Freddie to call his own plays because he was like having a coach out on the field.
He was our catalyst. You know, he made things happen, and he could relay things happening on the field to me. You know, and if he saw something open, then he would tell me, and then we'd try to exploit that. But he was a coach on the field.
Good coach, a hard-nosed coach. Definitely, puts you in your place.
Cohen knew his football, and you gave him a lot of respect even when you just looked at him because he looked like a football player. You could tell that he was tough. So when he tell you to be tough, it wasn't just something he was saying, because you could see him and knew that he was tough.
Coach Cohen was the single biggest influence on my life as far as giving, and I think that was probably the case with a lot of the team, giving us the confidence and the motivation to succeed and be successful at no matter what we're doing. He's just a fantastic person in my life, and I haven't seen him in years, but I love him and wish I could. Great guy, great coach.
We had this thing called Bloody Alley. I don't know if you're familiar with that. That's where you have two lions going head on with each other, and no matter where you fell in that line, you was going head on with the guy across from you. So it could be me at $155 against Hank Ryan or one of the D Cook brothers, and if you turn your back for a second, three guys in front of you some kind of way disappeared from the line. It was your turn going up against 260 pounds. Now that was intense.